Today I am taking up the topic types of immunity and the structure of antibody. Our body has to protect itself from the invading bacteria, viruses, then other types of pathogens, then the antigens, poisons, etc. For this, there is a separate system known as immune system. This immune system gives us protection. Every time we drink water, millions of these microorganisms enter our body. Similarly, whenever we take food, millions of bacteria, viruses, and other things enter our body. Similarly, whenever we breathe in air, again, a number of bacteria, viruses, etc. enter our lungs. So they should not enter our bloodstream. They should be prevented. Otherwise, we suffer from disease and death. So to protect us from these invaders, there is a separate system known as immune system. The immune system is mainly of two types: innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity is available from the time of our birth. For this type of immunity, there is no need to expose ourselves to any type of pathogen. Then, it is also non-specific. It works against all types of invaders. This innate immunity is also known as inborn immunity, and it is four types. The first one, physical barriers. Our skin and mucus secreted by the mucous membrane provide physical barriers. Our skin prevents entry of any pathogens into our body. As long as the skin is intact, no organism can enter our body. But once the skin is injured, they can easily enter our body and cause disease and death. The second one is mucus. Mucus is secreted by the mucous lining present in the digestive system, respiratory system, and urinogenital system. This mucus is a sticky substance and it traps the bacteria, viruses, other pathogens, and gives us protection from them. Then, the second one, physiological barriers. Physiological barriers are present in the form of hydrochloric acid secreted in our stomach and the lysozyme present in various secretions of the body. Whenever we take food or water, I have already told you, millions of bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens enter our stomach. In the stomach, in the gastric glands, there are oxyntic cells. The oxyntic cells secrete concentrated hydrochloric acid. This hydrochloric acid destroys the bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens. In this way, HCl provides protection. Next, lysozyme. Lysozyme is a powerful antibacterial enzyme. It is present in various secretions of our body. It is present in the tears. It is present in the saliva. It is present in the sweat. It is present in the semen, etc. So, whenever the bacteria try to enter our body, this enzyme, lysozyme, lyses them, or it destroys the cell wall of the bacteria. When the cell wall is destroyed, the bacteria automatically dies. In this way, there are physiological barriers. The third type is cellular barriers. These are various types. In our blood, there are white blood cells. Among the white blood cells, two types are very important here. They are neutrophils and monocytes. Neutrophils are also known as PMNL, means polymorphonuclear leukocytes. As they have the nucleus in different forms or different shapes, the neutrophils are known as polymorphs or polymorphonuclear leukocytes. So the neutrophils and monocytes are phagocytic. They engulf the bacteria and destroy them. So in this way, if the pathogens escape the physical and physiological barriers and enter the blood, in the blood these cells destroy the pathogens. If they escape from the blood into the tissues, in the tissues there is another type of defense. In the tissues there are cells known as histiocytes or macrophages. We call them as macrophages. The macrophages are lodged in different types of tissues. If the pathogens enter the tissues, these macrophages engulf them and destroy. The macrophages present in different types of tissues are known like this. In the brain, they are known as microglia cells. In the liver, they are called Kefir cells. In the tissues, they are known as histiocytes. In the lung, they are called alveolar macrophages. In this way, they destroy the pathogens that enter the tissues. There is another type of cell in the blood known as a natural killer cell. These natural killer cells also phagocytize the invaders and destroy them. In this way, the cellular barriers give us protection from the invading harmful germs. Then cytokines or cytokine barriers. Whenever the cells are infected by virus, the infected cells, what they do? They release interferons. These interferons alert other healthy cells that they are about to be invaded by the virus and ask them to protect themselves from these invaders. In this way, interferons alerts other healthy cells to safeguard themselves against the invading pathogens. In this way, the innate immunity is 4 types. The second type of immunity is acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. This type of immunity is not natural. We acquire this type of immunity during our lifetime. And this immunity is also specific against a pathogen. It is not general, but specific. So, we have to get exposed to the pathogen first. Then only this type of immunity develops. Then, when the body comes into contact with the pathogen, the first type, the immunity provided by the first time is known as primary immunity. Subsequent infection causes secondary response. So, primary response is the one that is produced by the body when the invader enters over the body for the first time. If the same invader enters the second time, our body responds in the suitable way. Then, to help in our defense, there is another type of white blood cell known as lymphocyte. Lymphocytes have a large nucleus, and these lymphocytes are 2 types, T cells and B cells. T cells assist the B cells to produce antibodies against the pathogens. So, whenever a pathogen enters our body, the T cells stimulate the B cells to produce antibodies against those antigens. Then, acquired immunity is also 2 types, actively acquired immunity and passively acquired immunity. Actively acquired immunity provides lifelong immunity, but it develops very slowly. Then, and actively acquired immunity develops only when we are exposed to a pathogen. So the condition is our body should be exposed to the pathogen. Then, whenever our body faces a pathogen, it starts producing antibodies. Again, this actively acquired immunity is 2 types, naturally acquired immunity and artificially acquired immunity. When the pathogens enter our body directly and provokes our immune system to produce antibodies, it is called actively acquired immunity. A number of pathogens will be entering our body continuously. We take, for example, the virus causing smallpox or chickenpox, or even the coronavirus. They enter our body in different ways and provoke our immune system. Then our body starts producing antibodies. So this is called naturally acquired immunity. But sometimes we do not wait for the infection to occur. Before the infection occurs, we prepare our body to protect from that invader. For this, what we do? We inject the weak strains of the germ or its antibodies into our body. This is called vaccination. You know that vaccination was invented by Edward Jenner against smallpox. He almost eradicated smallpox at the time. Now, there is no smallpox in the world. It is completely eliminated through vaccination. Then, so artificially acquired immunity is due to vaccination. Nowadays, we are taking vaccines against a variety of pathogens. Recently, all of us are vaccinated twice or thrice for coronavirus. In this way, before we fall a prey to a disease, we safeguard ourselves by vaccinating with the attenuated pathogens or weakened pathogens or their antibodies. Then, acquired immunity is also acquired passively. This passively acquired immunity is only a temporary one because the antibodies are destroyed by our immune system. It provides immediate protection, but short-lived protection. In this case, antibodies are not produced in our body. They are produced in some other organism and we get them from those animals or organisms. This is also two types: actively acquired immunity and artificially acquired immunity. Actively acquired immunity is seen in the case of developing fetus. When the fetus is developing in the body of the mother, what happens? The antibodies present in the blood of mother diffuse into the blood of the fetus and protects the fetus against a variety of disease-causing germs. The growing fetus has no immunity. So, mother's antibodies provide immunity to the fetus. Then, when the fetus or when the baby is born, what happens? It has no protection against germs. So, mother provides antibodies in the form of colostrum. So, the milk given during the first few days after delivery is known as colostrum. It is yellow in color because it is rich in antibodies. So, the baby receives antibodies through colostrum from mother. And till the immune system of the baby is activated, these antibodies protect the baby from various types of infections. So babies must receive colostrum, otherwise lifelong they suffer from deficiency of immunity. Then, artificially acquired immunity. Here what happens is, the time taken for producing antibodies for some diseases is very long. For example, rabies virus. If a mad dog or rabid dog bites a person, before his body develops antibodies, he will die. So what the doctors do? They inject preformed antibodies. Here, the virus or the antigen of a pathogen is given to a large animal like a horse, camel, or cow, etc. In these animals, the antigen provokes formation of antibodies. Then the blood serum from these animals is collected. It is purified, sterilized, bottled, and supplied to the hospitals. Nowadays, we receive preformed antibodies for diseases like ATS. ATS means anti-tetanus serum. Tetanus is a very dangerous organism. It causes a disease called tetany. Whenever we are pricked by an iron object, we receive ATS vaccine. Second one, anti-rabies vaccine. When a mad dog bites a person, they receive vaccine in the form of anti-rabies. Anti-rabies vaccine contains preformed antibodies. Rabies is also known as hydrophobia. People bitten by a mad dog are afraid to drink water. That's why it's called hydrophobia. Why they are afraid to drink water? Because the throat muscles are contracted and drinking becomes very difficult. That's why they avoid drinking any fluids. The third one is anti-venin. When a poisonous snake bites, the venom may affect our nervous system or the blood vessel system. And there will be no time for the development of antibodies against the venom. Before the body produces antibodies, the victim will be dead. So, soon after a poisonous snake is bitten, anti-venin is given to the victim. Anti-venin is also produced in larger animals like cows, cattle, horses, camels, etc. In this way, we receive preformed antibodies to protect ourselves against some types of pathogens. That is about immunity. Coming to the antibodies, I have told you, antibodies are produced by B lymphocytes. All the antibodies have the common shape. They resemble the letter Y. The antibodies are made of a protein known as immunoglobulin. It is represented by Ig. There are 5 types of immunoglobulins. They are IgA, IgD, IgE, IgG, and IgM. Each immunoglobulin is made of 2 heavy chains. These are heavy chains, and 2 light chains. So, an immunoglobulin is represented as H2L2. H2 means 2 heavy chains, L2 means 2 light chains. The heavy and light chains are joined by disulfide bonds. These are the disulfide bonds. Similarly, the heavy chains are also joined by disulfide bonds. Then, the heavy and light chains have 2 components. This part is known as the variable part, this one. And this part is known as the constant part. For every antigen, the variable part differs. The variable part is actually the antigen binding part. That means the antigen binds to this part. That's what is known as the FAB end. FAB means fraction antigen binding site. So the antigen always attaches to this part. For every antigen, there is a different type of this variable part. Then, the rest of the antibody is similar for all types of antibodies. Then, this end is known as FC end. FC end means fraction crystallizable end. With this end, the antibody is attached to the cell surface. In this way, antibodies have a structure, and the antibodies present either in the plasma or attached to the cells. The immunity provided by the antibodies is known as humoral immunity. Humoral immunity means the immunity provided by the antibodies present in the blood plasma. Cellular immunity means immunity provided by the phagocytic cells. The phagocytic cells engulf and destroy the invaders. So it is known as cell-mediated immunity. In this way, our immune system protects us from various types of harmful invaders. Thank you.